Yeah, I don't know what to expect from him because I don't know what to expect from the offense. I don't know how healthy he is. He's now 30, and he hasn't played any football since February of 2022. So a long, dry spell for Odell Beckham Jr., and there's a chance that he's just not going to be the guy that we were accustomed to seeing before. And even if he is he going to get the ball? And he's got $3 million in incentives in this contract that pays him 1 year, $15 million guaranteed, with that ability to make more on top of it. If he's not getting the ball the way that he thinks he should, will we start to see some frustrations bubble up? And he said in that athletic item that he's entering this year viewing it as the final year of his career. Now, I think he's just taking it 1 year at a time at this point, and why wouldn't you after everything that's gone on the past 3 years? I mean, look, his career started great, then he got a little frustrated in New York, then he got a new contract, and not long after he got the new contract, he was frustrated in New York and wanted out, and then they dumped him.
Yeah, he got hurt in New York.
I don't mean this.
Remember, he hurt his ankle.
Yeah, I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but they dumped him onto the Browns in that he was in Europe and he didn't even know.
Right.
They were thinking about trading him.
Yeah.
And what were the Browns thinking? That they're just going to treat him like a pawn on a chessboard and just like, hey, you want to get paid, you want to keep playing football, you come to Cleveland. Like, isn't OBJ kind of close enough to franchise quarterback that even if he doesn't have a no-trade clause,
100%.
you want him to be on board?
100%.
Like, what the hell was John Dorsey thinking? I love John Dorsey, but what was he thinking when he just like, yeah, let's trade for Odell Beckham Jr. and not even tell him before we trade for him?
That's one where I'm like, he's superstar. It's superstar, game changer, locker room changer, culture changer, whatever you want to say. Odell Beckham Jr. has that. Yeah, you want to make sure, that it's a volunteer, not a hostage like you're talking about. And you want to make sure, it's a star that can affect the rest of your football team if he's not happy being there. They probably should have checked in. He put his best foot forward for as long as he possibly could. And then finally he made some waves to get out of there. I mean, it wasn't Odell Beckham Jr., as you and I both know, that was the major problem. There was a lot of issues there, certainly. But, yeah, you're right. They should have checked in. They should have. And, Mike, going back to the Baltimore thing too, right? I hear you. It's interesting what to expect. But I do look at them and go, okay, I think the offense will be better in the pass game for sure. I don't doubt that. I look at their roster and you go, hey, he's really the only proven commodity they got at the wide receiver position. So I'm not saying that necessarily is going to translate to 115 receptions and 1,500 yards receiving, but I think he will be the focal point. He will. He'll be the guy that's in the trust tree of Todd Monken and Lamar Jackson to do some of the more intricate, detailed stuff and route running and plays and all that. And they're going to dial up some shots with him too. But, I just, knowing that guy, OBJ, knowing Lamar a little bit, right? I just think there's going to be a connection there to be had. And especially since he's a guy that's been there, done that, and there's not a lot of that on that roster, I think we're going to see a heavy dose of OBJ and Mark Andrews, and those will be the prime two targets with some, Zay Flowers reverses and some splash and sizzle from him from time to time.
Well, it's not going to be easy, and people acting like Todd Monken comes in as Bill Walsh.
Yeah, you're right about that.
making this offense go after they've been that run-heavy attack. And, I've been saying, hey, when it's time to convert on 3rd and 6, you're going to have Lamar Jackson revert to what he does best, which is just go run for the damn first down and not get too fancy or too complicated. You may have a temptation, and somebody was pointing this out last week when we were in Canton, not just to freelance that way, but Todd Monken may say, wait, why am I calling all these passes when I've got Lamar Jackson who can go run the ball whenever he wants for 7, 10, 15 yards. So it's going to take a lot of discipline for everybody to make this pivot. And it's for Lamar Jackson's own good to make this pivot away from running to passing.
Agreed.
And having Odell Beckham Jr. and Zay Flowers and Mark Andrews and Isaiah Likely and other weapons. That is the incentive for Lamar Jackson to set aside the running skill and focus on developing into more of a pocket passer, just like Steve McNair did and just like Steve Young did.
Yeah, agreed. It needs to go to that, phase of his career. Just timely scrambles, timely run. Nothing's there, then do it. That shouldn't be the focal point. And listen, he's tried to do that. It hasn't been like Lamar drop back and just look to run. He has been playing within the pocket. They just, again, have not always had the best receivers, not always the most creative offense in the world. He's trying to do the right things that way. But, yeah, I don't want to see, Lamar Jackson 2,800 yards and 800 or 900 yards rushing. I want to see Lamar Jackson, flirting with 4,000 yards throwing the football, which we've yet to see. And, hey, maybe it's 500 or 600 yards rushing, but it's more of an impactful, big play, know when to do it type of moment, right? A little along the lines of Mahomes and Josh Allen and knowing when to bring it out, only when need be, and try to strike, consistently with that right arm. And I think we're going to see that from Lamar Jackson this year.
Well, remember when he signed his new contract back in April and they had that press conference, he said he wants to throw for not 4,000.
5.
Not 5,000.
Oh, he said
6,000. 6,000. Nobody's ever done 6,000.
No.
He's in this new offense. He wants to go 6,000 right out of the gate. So, hey, maybe that's how you get to 5. You say you want to go for 6, and then you guarantee getting to 5. But even 5 would be a hell of a lot for Lamar Jackson in any offense when you have that ability to be the dual threat runner and passer. But that shows he's at least got the mindset to make the pivot toward the thing
that's been showing.
That's going to keep him on the field for third contract and maybe a fourth contract. One more thing about OBJ before we move on.
Yeah.
Because I thought of this earlier when we were talking about how they just dumped him onto the Browns, and the Browns didn't even talk to him ahead of time. I really do feel like the game, and I'm not going to be specific about names or teams here. I just feel like the game has a way of clipping the wings of guys who seem too big for their britches. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like it goes out of its way to humble a guy like OBJ because he's too big. He's too much of a showman. He's doing too. They should embrace. The game should embrace guys like that. But I feel like it's that old school mindset that wants to remind these guys, you know what? You're just a piece in this giant football machine, and you can be replaced, you will be replaced, and why don't we just go ahead and replace you now and stick you into a different machine that you may not even want to be in, but too bad you signed a contract, live with it. I just feel like there's that mindset that ricochets around the NFL where, oh, you think you're a star? Nope, you're just another guy. You're just another cog in the football machine.
There's imbalance as a player. And, with the, like you're talking about, the old school people in the NFL, there's that balance of finding me and we, right? And the team likes when they got some cocky guys who believe in me, but they don't want it to filter over into maybe doing an interview with Josina Anderson and Lil Wayne, and now you're talking about the state of the football team and taking a few shots at your franchise quarterback, right? I mean, that would be where OBJ was wrong to do that. That's maybe where, okay, it went too far to, hey, me. And, of course, it's the New York Football Giants. It's one of the oldest franchises ever. I mean, they've been here forever, and they're...
And he just signed a contract.
I know, but he went, a little too far that way, and then within doing that, too, attacked one of the crown jewels of the franchise in Eli Manning. So it was a double whammy. Not only could I see him pissing off the Maras and the Tisch family, but he pissed off the New York fan base with that one too. So that, if there was one mistake he made in his career, for sure, that would be the one that I would say, yeah, probably made the Giants brass a little uncomfortable and angry with how he handled that.
Very few moments from game days over the past 5-6 years are seared into my brain. I remember standing in the viewing room before the game started that day in October of 2018, thinking, what the hell are we watching?
Yeah.
What is this?
Right?
What is he doing? Oh my God, it's great for business. It's great for my business. Gave us plenty of stuff to write about and talk about. But what in the world is this? And that was the beginning of the end, or the ending of the end for him in New York, and they dumped him onto the Browns, and the Browns willingly accepted him without. Maybe the Browns were afraid to ask. Maybe that's why they didn't ask. You know what? If we ask this guy, do you want to come play for the Browns? He's going to say no, no.
Could be.
So what's the saying? It's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. That may have been the way that Odell Beckham Jr. made his entry into Cleveland, and it could explain why he didn't stay in Cleveland for all that long in the grand scheme of things. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.